You've made it to episode 4 of season 4 of the Hello Church podcast. And we're excited to have you. Hopefully you've been enjoying this. I know we have. I enjoy talking about this stuff because we're in a church plant.
That's right.
So smaller church, considered smaller church. A church I was on staff at was around the 200 mark. So kind of at the top of the, we have a cap on this. If you have over 200 people, you can't listen to this podcast. This is for pastors of churches of 200 or younger. Right. So just kidding. But so around the 200 mark. So I've been a part of a church that was about 5 years of my experience. And then the rest has kind of been church planning. Before that was all volunteer stuff, really never on staff, not paid staff.
Gotcha.
But this is
still had all the work, just didn't have the paycheck.
Yeah, I did the work. Yeah. One church paid me $500 a month to do about 40 hours a week, and that was just out of college. I feel like maybe they're taking advantage of me. Hopefully, they're not listening to this podcast. But it was a learning experience, if anything. There you go. That was cool. But so this entire season is dedicated to the stuff that we've gone through. That's right. Your church is 2 services now, but what are y'all running around?
Yeah, we're hitting that 250. We're busting some boundaries and some barriers, which is awesome. Cool. But we definitely walked through. It was a revitalization church.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you started, that was a struggle.
Yeah. It was like a church plant. 12 people was our first service as lead pastors there. And so God's graciously grown us. And we've leaned into some of these things we've talked about in the last 3 episodes. And we can't wait to jump into this. My name's Mike. I pastor a local church in Tomball, Texas.
Yeah. And I'm David Krausen. And I'm excited to walk you through this journey of Hello Church this season. Today, we're going to be talking about resourcing pastors with tools that they can use to further the gospel, to kick the ball further down the field, to do ministry more effectively. Chances are you're doing a lot of things alone.
That's right.
Because that's just the nature of a church of around this size is you're not doing it because you want to. Some of those things you're doing it because you have to.
We're just in there,
Maybe you've got to mow the grass and you don't have the money to pay someone, and you don't have anyone in your church with a lawnmower or whatever, or the budget to buy one. So you're just doing it.
That's right.
And some things are out of necessity. So some of the things we're going to talk about today, you have to do these things.
Yeah, this is the podcast I wish I had, 5.5 years ago when I started. Just like I needed this.
This is like secrets of the larger church that they don't want you to know.
That's right.
That could be a good. That could be a fun title for this.
I like that.
Secrets of big churches don't want you to know about.
Our resources that just help us. I just need help. Sometimes you just need the support of an app or support of a website or support of a company that loves small churches, loves helping those who are, trying to figure this out with low cost. And you just need the list.
That's this whole concept. But don't go around kicking cactus for no reason.
That's right.
Like there's an easier way, a path of least resistance. Hopefully this episode will kind of shed some light on that.
That's right.
For you today.
Super practical.
Practical tools that we use.
That's right.
That we have used, that we are using. We've gone through a lot of trial and error.
That's right.
With some stuff, especially as a church plant, and probably in your case too. Like we're going to be talking about things like church management systems.
That's right.
Communication tools that we use online, things like texting and emailing, website stuff.
Better us as communicators, helping us get our games situated for youth and for kids. Yeah, all of it. All practical help.
So let's dive in. We're going to dive into a category of preaching.
Sure.
Preaching tools that you can use to make it a little easier.
That's right.
Now, this is in no way, we get feedback all the time about, well, you're just trying to take the place of the Holy Spirit and you're writing messages for people and doing all that stuff here.
Really?
We're a part of an organization called Ministry Pass. If you're unaware, Ministry Pass does that. We provide, well, not the Holy Spirit. We provide resources to pastors to help them plan and prepare and preach sermon series, effective sermon series, like all of the building blocks.
Yeah.
So if you think you're going to build a house, you don't just like go stand in a field and close your eyes and open it and you have a house.
Right.
You went to Home Depot or you hired a guy, a company to come in, and you had pieces that you put together and you built a house, but you had the vision for it.
That's right.
They just helped you build the house.
It's good.
Right? So Ministry Pass is kind of the same concept. So that's our number one suggestion. If you're a pastor preaching sermon series and you find yourself struggling with things like graphics to go along with it.
Sure.
Catchy titles to go along with what God's called you to
Hardest
preach.
Thing to,
Life group discussion questions. Good. Like you've got small groups in your church and you want to maybe have conversations going on during the week about the message. Coming up with the questions that go along with the sermons. And maybe even just a map of the sermon series. So like, okay, what are we going to preach on week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yes.
Ministry Pass is phenomenal. You use Ministry Pass at your church?
Yes, we do. We use it in conjunction with. So we don't follow the exact. So we use a sermon calendar. I was part of that. A few weeks ago. And so we use it, but they allow us to be flexible with it. So if you're kind of that guy that's like, I just need some support, Ministry Pass is a beautiful resource to help with some. If you need all the support, they're an incredible resource for all. And I love that they have both lanes in that. I can kind of critique it to or use it to the ability that I want it to be used as. Yeah. And it's not, I have to use it at all 100% or else I can't use it at all. I love the flexibility of Ministry Pass. But let me just say, you kind of spoke on this, but I want to say why a resource in the area of preaching help is even necessary. Like why do we even have a resource? Yeah. Well, because the message that we're talking about is the greatest message on planet Earth.
Okay, right.
The gospel deserves excellent.
Sure.
The gospel deserves us to be well studied. The gospel deserves the best.
I think there's a scripture about that.
Exactly. It deserves our best. So if you're a pastor like I was when I first started preaching, just kind of lost, just kind of didn't know how to do it, staring at a blank sheet of paper going, okay, Lord.
I know I want to preach and I need to preach about this, but
how do I organize this? How do I enhance it? How do I make it relevant for people that I'm talking to? Like this episode is going to help with that. But it was because it was important to me. That's why I wanted it to be its best, is that it rises to that level. So I would dare challenge anyone who's in the preaching aspect of leading a church and that's your involvement. You're the teaching pastor or you're the lead pastor who preaches every week. The reason why there is even a resource list today about preaching is because it matters. It's important.
Yeah.
It can't just be Saturday night, or Sunday morning before I get on the platform. Like I need to have some thought into this. And so these resources, Ministry Pass being the top of our list, is a great resource. Help us. They're not replacing the Holy Spirit.
Right.
I don't know where that even comes from. Like we're supposed to partner with the Holy Spirit.
I saw a comment on one of our Facebook posts this week, and this guy was saying, well, this is silly. God said that he would give you, the scripture says that he would give you the words to say in the moment as you stood up to speak them or whatever.
Sure.
It's completely taken out of context, but he was of the idea that you shouldn't be putting thought into or planning or preparing your messages. Sure. You should stand up, and if God's given you something to say, you shouldn't need a tool to help you say it.
Gotcha.
You should just be able to stand up and say it. But there's this idea of effective communicating.
Right.
And when you listen to certain people speak who are effective communicators, you see growth and change and people taking action and all of this stuff. It's because they're effective. They're good communicators.
Sure.
And you're not a good communicator by just standing up and talking.
Right. I think that the effective part, I love that word. It's got to be effective.
Yeah.
Because if we're honest, we've all sat underneath and heard a sermon that was an hour long, but could have been 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, and you walked away going, what did he just say?
Sure. So we're in the lane. The Holy Spirit loves to work in planning. Loves to work in creative ways.
Why not?
He is the most creative. He is the most organized. He's an ordered God. So therefore, we partner with the Holy Spirit. So we don't want that right out the gate.
No, I mean, he created the earth in order and structure. Right. He started at point A.
So he's given us these resources to help us be better at carrying his message and carrying the gospel. And so Ministry Pass offers
just
that.
a tool to help with that.
Offers that. There's also... so you get some great sermon starters, you get some great sermon content from there.
What about youth pastors and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. There's a ministry resource that I download, Youth Ministry. If you've never heard of it, you need to give that to your youth pastor for games, for resources for your youth ministry to get better, because that's the thing. When we get better as communicators, everything starts to get better. So you can lean in and pretend like you download Youth Ministry yourself and give it to your youth pastor. You'd be his greatest hero, right? Yeah. But it's also like some of these resources are a little bit of an investment. Okay. And that's what we want to speak, because we know that we're speaking to lead pastors. We're speaking to guys who are in charge of the finances. And we wanted to encourage you, like, these are necessary. These help support the ministry.
Certain things you want to invest in.
That's right. Not all of these are free, but all of these are investments in the overall growth and structure of the church to help it be a better organization.
Sure. So, and if these companies could give it away for free, I'm sure they would.
Absolutely.
It costs money to make some of this stuff.
So Ministry Pass, love it. Love what it does.
Yeah.
The calendars, beautiful. Okay. If you've never preached from a calendar, I'm telling you, it takes all of the load off of trying to manage all of that.
Yeah.
Beautiful calendars. I love different styles of calendars.
Sure.
And then they partner with a company called Sermonary.
Oh, right.
Which
Sermon
takes
writing app. Right.
exactly takes the content and you can begin to put your thoughts in order. Because if you're still using things like Word documents and Google Docs
or paper and pen.
That's so or paper and pen.
tough.
That's so difficult it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got 16 other things that you've got to get done that week in ministry because you're part of a small church.
You're doing a few more things than just preaching.
That's right. These are great resources to help just organize your thoughts, and it works really, really well with Ministry Pass.
So Sermonary is a phenomenal writing tool.
Yes.
It's a blocks-based writing tool. So if you've written an intro and you've written a point in a scripture, and then you thought to yourself, I'd really want the illustration above the scripture or the scripture below that, well, you can just drag that block and rearrange your content.
Yes.
And you can mark some of those things as slides for export, which is cool. So your media team, you can export those and they get the PowerPoint and the keynote and they can add the graphics to it. That's pretty cool.
Pretty neat.
And another tool for whenever you're preaching it is Podium Mode.
Yes.
Podium Mode, once you've written your sermon in this linear format, you just click over to Podium Mode. It's got a countdown timer that lets you know how long you've been preaching. And say you've set a timer for 30 minutes and you go over, it'll actually go negative now and enter into the red and show you how many minutes you've gone over.
For some of us, that's a good thing.
We need that.
Don't deny that. We need that.
Yeah. So Podium Mode's cool. You can view it on your iPad as well. If you're a mind map kind of guy or gal who likes color coding things,
sure.
Each block has its own color. And you can assign a blue or green or orange, yellow, whatever. And so when you look down back at your iPad, you remember I was in this blue block. Nice. I was in this yellow block. And you just keep your train of thought going. Sermonary.com, check it out. Ministrypass.com.
Yep.
Download youth ministry.
Yes.
Is it .com?
Yep.
We'll have all these links in our description.
Yep.
We think that's powerful. Another one for your church. It's beyond just preaching. It's more like small group and discipleship throughout the week.
Yep.
What do you guys use at your church?
Right Now Media. RightNowMedia.com is a phenomenal resource. We use it for life groups, small groups, whatever you want to call it.
So you pick like a topic, a discussion.
Yeah, it is a library of video content that they have accrued over the many years.
Okay.
Great people. Again, spit out the bones, eat the meat.
Sure.
If you're, whatever, theologically, you're going to find something that matches what you're at. I love that about Right Now Media. But it's a phenomenal way to give it into the hands of your volunteer leaders.
Okay.
And they can curate, as a small group leader, they can curate a plan.
Wow.
And we have them.
That's
we have
cool.
our small group leaders, hey, this is the one I want to use. And I go check it and make sure it lines up with values and cultures and theology of our denomination, service.
Anything.
Yeah, exactly. But they have the ability and they can do it in their laptop at home. They can bring it up on their phone, their tablets at home. And now everyone can gather around. And because the reality is a lot of that content that we want to watch is video. And so they have tons of video that we use every week. Every week our life. So
in other words, you don't have to have a bunch of people in your church that you would consider qualified teachers of the word.
That's right.
Like if you're in a smaller church, chances are you don't have a whole bunch of people. You would say, I want you to teach a Bible lesson or a Bible study multiple weeks long on this topic.
Correct.
That's tough.
It's got leadership.
So you've got people like Beth Moore or
whoever all on there
Yeah.
and doing some great teachings that will benefit the people, and it's less stress on the volunteer in a small environment. That's exactly right. We get a little bit limited in who we can pick from.
Right.
So we're able to qualify and train and lead and let somebody else step
you can
into
host
that.
it.
That's right. They become hosts.
Yeah.
And the content's solid. It's solid stuff. So Right Now Media, and they have a great tier package for smaller churches. And so I love that. That's exactly based off of the size of your church. They understand smaller churches, the budget's not as big. And so they've practiced themselves into a great model. And again, we're not getting any kind of kickback we're just trying to give resources to the pastor who's saying, man, I really wish I had some help in this area because I'm having to write all the content for these small group leaders. I'm having to write everything, teach every class. Right Now Media is a great tool to supplement some of that. And you're instantly an expert because you push play.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about in-person preaching and communication. One of the things that we use at our church is presentation software. Now, if you've got screens or a TV or whatever you've got on your stage, chances are you've got some sort of software running. Yeah. One that I've used several over the years, the one that we've landed on and love is ProPresenter. And if you're not familiar with ProPresenter by a company called Renewed Vision, It's a little pricey, but they I think the annual renewal is actually about half what it costs initially.
What it used to. That's right.
So it's pretty fantastic.
Right.
It's capable of things, not just presentation software
Correct.
like lyrics, but also things like live streaming and encoding.
That's right.
So
it does things that
phenomenal.
the larger churches are doing, and you're going, how are they?
How do I?
They
do
brought
that?
it down to our level to do it
one
easy.
piece of software,
Yes.
and you've got presentation software for
That's right.
lyrics, scriptures. You can do what's called a confidence monitor
That's right.
or a stage display in the back of your room where you've got your scripture and your points
That's right.
listed up there. Your worship leader can read the current slide and the next slide and
That's
kind of
right.
get ahead so they're not singing the wrong words. That's fantastic.
Super helpful. And I would just say this: listen,
yeah.
if you're thinking that I don't need that in my small church, like I don't need that visual presentation in my sermon, I will dare say you will want that if you want to attract young people. Young people like to see, and
Sure.
just know this: not just young people. There are several different types of learning styles that sit in the church pews.
Oh, right.
Every Sunday.
Not everyone's just
everyone's an
a hearer.
auditory learner.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. Some are visual.
Yeah.
And if we provide no visual, opportunity for stimuli
Yeah.
to learn from, we're missing.
Or you're assuming everyone has a Bible in their hand and they can
Exactly.
follow along. Or
Exactly. So that's why that's become super important, and why that resource in ProPresenter and has become a leading standard in that. And it's affordable, but it is an investment. It is an investment, and that's where we're trying to help understand. Like, yeah, it costs, but we're also spending money in other areas of our church.
Sure.
This needs to be an investment.
Just needs to be a
it's
priority.
the gospel.
Right?
We're showing the gospel.
We're talking about presenting the gospel.
It's got to be a priority.
Yeah.
But that's a great,
So-
and it does so much than just present. Right. The streaming side of it. all
Man,
of
the
that.
streaming is really cool. We're
Yeah.
actually fixing to do that at our church because our live stream audience has been growing a little bit.
Sure.
And they're like, well, you've got this camera angle where we can see your screen with words on it, but we can't really read them.
Yeah.
Did you know that ProPresenter can take in a webcam input /
right.
your switcher, like an ATM switcher or something?
That's right.
And overlay a virtual screen on that has its own lower thirds with words and scriptures and
That's right.
points. It does that.
It does.
It's really, really cool.
And it's one of the most supported
there's huge
softwares
community.
of community
Yeah,
for
yeah.
people to, if you, I don't know how to, I'm not the tech
How
guy.
do
I'm
I?
not,
Yeah.
tons of YouTube videos, tons of support
huge.
on how-tos in that lane, which is one of the reasons why it's on our resource list, because
Right.
it's one thing to say,
It's small
hey,
church
but you-
friendly for sure.
Exactly. Because there's so much out there. And just so you know, just a sneak peek into future episodes, we're going to do an entire episode on tech stuff.
Tech on a budget.
That's right. On a budget.
I
And-
can't wait for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's gonna
we're
be
gonna
fun.
we're gonna unpack how all of that works, and we're excited about that. That's kind of our we're techies, and so
we
we're
like
excited
that
about
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
But anyways, ProPresenters got to help.
ProPresenter is really
That's
cool.
right.
I think we're not going to give you an exhaustive list of anything today.
Right.
This is just some stuff we've used.
We've
some tools
used.
That's kind of it for the preaching category, I think,
Sure.
unless you have anything
Nope,
else.
that's good.
We're going to move into communication, and more specifically, digital communication. That was
That's right.
preaching, communicating the gospel in person, the tools that you can use to prepare. Siri thinks that I'm asking it a question. I'm not. She's crazy. Let's talk about digital communication tools.
Sure.
What do you
It's
use
the-
in your church?
Yeah, it's the question of, hey, how do you get those banners, and where do you get those signs from?
Yeah, we
Those
get
signs
that
look-
kind of question
all the time.
right?
We're really big into B2 signs. Is that
Okay.
that's what it's
b2signs.com.
That's right. They provide all of our banners and posters at our church.
Okay.
I know Hello Church and Ministry Pass, they've all
Yep. Yeah, we
used
use
that. It's a great resource for cheap, affordable.
Gosh, yeah. Our church used
Super
them.
affordable.
So, like
we use
those
them.
tension stretch fabric displays.
That's right.
We actually did a step and repeat logo banner for Easter. We had our logo on it, and
What's step and repeat? What is that?
step and repeat. Yeah, that's like so your logo is kind of all over the background, right? Like in a grid.
That's good.
And so we did that for 200 and something bucks. I think it's like an
Nice.
8x8
That's huge.
banner,
Yeah.
and it's actually they'll print on both sides for you, so you can do one side
Flip it.
for whatever you're needing it for. And we just printed like a
Generic.
generic something. We
logo.
can turn that sucker around, and we can
love
use it
it.
for any other random need.
So good.
Photo backdrop, you can use it as series art on your stage. It's a phenomenal print, great visual impact for less than $300.
So we're talking about like these, but why is that even? Who cares what it looks like? Who cares that our church doesn't?
Yeah,
have
I say all the time to people, like, excellence. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even have to spend a lot of money to be excellent at
It's good.
something. You really don't.
Right.
Like, we're talking about God.
Yeah.
We're talking about the gospel. We're talking about
It's an amazing
salvation. We're
story.
talking
Sure.
about Jesus.
Yes.
Why are we cheaping out? Why
Sure.
are we saying, why are we going around with this mentality that's like, I need it for free, or I
Right.
can't have it at all, or you're going to give me a
Exactly.
discount, and yada, yada, yada. Like, we're talking about the gospel.
It's
You
worth.
can do
every
it
penny.
excellent. Now,
That's
if it's free and excellent, use it. If it's cheap and excellent, use it.
That's right.
If it's expensive and excellent and you've got the budget and you need it, if it's with your mission, your vision, your core values as a church, use it.
Put it into practice.
Why wouldn't you?
Right.
Why wouldn't you?
And
so we're talking about these things. This communication is internal and it's external.
That's right. What other people are seeing from the outside looking in. We're in a shopping center.
Okay.
We literally have a window.
You're like in the corner.
Exactly.
Right?
Like we literally
Everyone
have a
looks at
shopping window that people that are walking by would look at, like if you're in a mall and you say, oh, what is that display? So we're constantly making that display, look good because people are walking by.
Yeah.
It sends a message externally. So people coming to get their nails done, they're walking by our church and they're saying, oh, there's something happening in this church. And man, that looks inviting. Yeah. It doesn't look hand drawn. There's not a sign taped to our
printed
wall.
in at Office Depot.
That says, service times. I mean, we've got this written out in a beautiful sign and it creates this, excellence. That's this church is excellent in what they're doing. And it's the gospel. So it deserves that. So we do it for the external. I was going to say, make sure we say we do it so people looking in, we're literally a storefront church.
Sure.
See what we're doing. Yeah. Our people get a kick out of it and they can take pictures and stuff in special events and for baptisms and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's fun.
But man, people on the outside, when they look in, they go, man, this looks sharp and this looks inviting and it doesn't look scary. It doesn't look hokey. It doesn't look cheap. It looks well done. We don't go to restaurants that are not put together and well done. Sure. Again, we have some great dives in Houston, some great taco shops. But you get what I'm saying? Like we go there because we expect there's an excellence on the other side of that presentation.
Yeah.
I think the gospel should be the most excellent presentation.
Sort of a first impression.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So that's why we do it. And so those are B2 signs. That's a great
other
website.
print companies that we like are uprinting.com.
Yep. Wow.
Man, when we need like business cards or postcards done, uprinting.com gives you a guaranteed delivery date, which I like. There's other cheaper places to have stuff printed, next day flyers.
It's the reliability factor.
But I know that on this date, I'm getting a delivery.
That's right.
With uprinting. And so I like that. If you want cheap and you don't have time, I like next day flyers and we like Got Print. Got Print. Got Print is great, but uprinting, if I know I need it Thursday,
it's good.
I'm going to get it Thursday.
Sure.
So fantastic, great quality, not a whole lot of money. Print stuff's real cheap.
And going back to the banner, like the flipping around and stuff, like what it does to your lobby, what it does to your building, what it does to your facility when you have these things versus just a manila wall or a orange wall or whatever you have. Like it's a really cool, simple, quick way to change aesthetics. Right? Exactly. Without having to paint and a quick banner, a quick pop-up a quick flip around, and you've changed the whole look.
Done.
We do it in our student ministry. They share our auditorium.
Okay.
And so on Sundays, it's adults, but then we flip it around for students, and it's got its own look and its own feel for it. So it just creates another atmosphere very quickly. Yes, very quickly.
We're all about budget-friendly stuff.
That's right.
So versatility is huge.
That's
being
right.
able to flip it around. So we're talking about print stuff.
Yeah.
And you're probably going, well, do they also design the stuff?
That's right.
You know what? These companies, I think some of them do offer some design services, but we don't recommend that. We actually like using a tool that is free for churches, and it's Canva Pro.
Okay.
Canva Pro is fantastic. Doesn't cost you a dime as a nonprofit. You can basically just request it, and then they'll like approve you, and bam, you have Canva Pro. Canva Pro, you can design print-ready stuff using their templates.
Sure.
Or you can start from scratch and using their image library and their asset library. You can also, which is really cool, we talked about Ministry Pass earlier, and we've got like all of this artwork in Photoshop files. And if you're a Photoshop designer, you can download that and go crazy.
Yeah.
But if you're the pastor who's like, I don't know Photoshop, I don't want to mess with Photoshop, that's daunting. We get it. So we are in the process and have got a majority done, converting all of our designs to Canva ready designs. You can one click open in Canva, and you have a layered file in Canva that you can manipulate, change the text, swap out backgrounds, resize with have the option called magic resize. So if you want it to be a certain dimension or social media size, square, rectangle, tall, vertical, whatever, select that, click it, bam, it rearranges all the elements for you. It's pretty fantastic. So if you're getting ready to design something from B2 Signs or Got Print or uprinting.com, you can do that in Canva using some of the Ministry Pass starter stuff or using some Canva elements in Canva Pro.
Any help.
Love
Any
Canva
help
for
is
that.
necessary.
You don't have to be a graphic designer to use it.
This one's obvious, but it's still along the line of communication.
Yeah.
And I say obvious, maybe not to some So that's why we brought it on our list.
Yeah.
And that is the use of websites, social media, Facebook. Some of these are free to use. Facebook's free to use. And I know I've heard
a dime, right?
Yeah. I've had pastor friends, tell me of a different generation. Well, I don't need to be on social media. I say it's where a bunch of people are.
Millions.
And so I'm gonna go where the people are and try to, share the gospel there. And so if you aren't, I know it sounds silly, but maybe you aren't utilizing social media to that extent. Like they're absolutely free.
Yeah.
Pop on Facebook, get on a YouTube account, get an Instagram account, whatever. Like get on the places that people are.
Sure.
And start displaying. But I love you had some rules for social media as far as not just making an announcement.
Oh gosh.
I love that. We're talking about
most churches, you go to their Facebook page or you go to their feed. I think you have to specifically go there because Facebook's not going to show it to you because it's all just like a bulletin board.
Yeah. It's like a calendar of all the stuff going on.
It's like, this is happening tonight. This is happening tomorrow. Da, 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 da.
So what are some practical ways to use social media?
So if I were telling you how to use your social media account, any church really, I think it's kind of like a 90-10 principle.
Gotcha.
90% like ministry.
Sure.
View it as ministry because people are not going to your church's page to find out what's going on, okay?
Right.
Let's face it. They're going to social media to be entertained or to be taught something or to be inspired by someone they follow.
Sure.
And so if your church is showing up as just stuff to come to, like,
right. It's a quick swipeable.
Big red no, swipe. So use scriptures, use points from your sermon on Sunday, post imagery of your church even. Like,
it's helpful.
Man, that's inviting.
Sure.
Like to give someone an idea of what it looks like in your church before they get there. I think that's really cool.
It's the window. Like we're literally a shopping center church.
Yeah, they
but
get
it's
to look
the window.
into your church. Yeah.
That's right. It's a window. And if all they see is advertisement for events, who are these people? We don't know who they are.
I have no reason to go.
Yeah, show the people. Show people in your church.
Yeah.
Show them
Tell
what's happening.
stories.
Exactly.
Invite people into stories.
So good. So that's a tool. That's a resource. And we're not going to tell you, specifically what web companies. There's tons of them out there.
As far as websites go, like if you don't have one, it's 2023. That's when someone's looking for a church in your community, they're going to go to Google. They're going to type in churches around me. It's going to be a suggested search for them. When they start typing the word churches, around me is going to be like, okay, yes, around me.
Right.
And then it's going to show them listings.
That's right.
And you're like, how did those churches get on there? Are they paying money? Chances are probably not.
Right.
Because Google has a cool place feature. It's like a Google Place listing. It doesn't cost you a dime to set up.
Not having to do SEO.
You don't have to be an SEO guru or a
Exactly.
website person. Just go fill out the form. It's your church name. It's your hours. So for you, it might be Sunday and you're just your service times or your office hours. You can include those as well. A website link, the address, a way to contact. Maybe it's an email or a phone number.
That's good.
Your logo, some photos of your church. Now, when someone is in your zip code and they're around that kind of geo area and they type in churches around me, you're going to pop up.
Wow.
It didn't cost you a dime.
And if you think people aren't doing that, you're absolutely mistaken.
Most of the visits to our church's website are from that right there.
Number one reason. How did you hear about our church? I was Googling and I saw, ours is called local. So it kind of helps us. We're local. So, but they'll say, we Googled it and we popped up. And so that's such a critical component. So thank you for sharing that resource.
Yeah, it doesn't cost a dime. And then for as websites go, if you don't have one, you need to have one. And we are not going to recommend a specific company, but I would say this: do not, if you're not a web person, just go to like a GoDaddy or a Bluehost and get a hosting platform for $4 a month and install WordPress and try to start from scratch.
Right.
Because building an effective church website is a lot harder than you think.
That's right.
It's not just all the things you think that need to be on there.
That's right.
It's all the things your guests are looking for. And you may not know what that is. You may think you know, because most church websites are just all about, again, like their Facebooks, me, as opposed to seeing your community and talking to their needs.
It's good. That's good.
So go with a church company like Church Co. or some of those companies that exist that do church-specific website platforms, because chances are they've got this skeleton in place and you just have to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And connect a domain name and publish it.
That's good.
Saves you a lot of headache.
Yeah. One of the things that we struggled with as we began to grow was communication.
Okay.
Like how do we literally communicate to people about events? Not that you are never supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But what are some effective ways?
You have to talk to your people about
you
things.
You gotta tell them what's coming up. And they got this prayer thing, you got camps coming up and registration.
Yeah, our service is canceled because there's a tornado.
Exactly. Yeah. Bad weather. Perfect example. And social media can help you with that, but there are some people that still are not on social media. So what do? Everyone has a cell phone. So that's the case. We would encourage companies like Text in Church.
Text in Church, we love.
So
Text
they
in
can
Church.
respond. You can use it for advertisements, but you can also use it for like response in church for that connect
like
card,
signups and stuff.
Signups, yeah. I'm a first time guest. Here, text this, and we get their information.
That's cool.
So text in church is a great way to communicate. Still, people are using email. That's not
email
obsolete.
is not dead.
That's right.
So
it's not obsolete.
Speaking of Facebook and stuff a while ago, we advise churches of this all the time. You don't actually own your Facebook account.
That's right.
Facebook owns your Facebook account. And so they can shut you down at any time. I've actually had it happen to me because I was
Got put in
I was
Facebook
locked
jail?
out. Well, I wasn't in jail, but someone hacked my account.
Okay.
And took over and posted some not so nice things.
Sure.
And Facebook flagged it. And I was shut down for over 2 months before a friend of a friend of a friend who works at Facebook got me back.
Gotcha.
And that's the only reason I got back.
Interesting.
But technically, it's not your content.
You're that important, bro.
I'm
You got
that
hacked,
important.
bro.
I got hacked, finally, yes. If that happens to your church and that's all you have,
Sure.
you're dead in the water.
That's true.
What do you do?
That's right.
So you own your website.
Right.
No one's going to go shut your website down, chances are. If you're conspiracy theorists, maybe you think they will.
Yeah.
And they may. I don't know. But you own that, and you own your email list.
Sure.
You own your email list. No one owns your email list. Those are your emails. Those are your contacts. Those are your phone. If you're text in church, that's your database of contacts. If you have something like MailChimp, we're going to talk about email.
That's right.
Moving into that.
Constant
You own
Contact,
that list.
MailChimp, yep.
Constant Contact, MailChimp, any of those guys. You own that content.
That's good.
So if you need to talk to people and you have your website, you own that.
That's good.
You own those 3 things.
Yeah.
You don't own social media.
That's
so
right.
don't lean heavily only on social media.
And I think that when it comes to resources of communication, what you're hearing is you got to be multiple.
I think it's above it. It's
multiple.
everything.
So as a lead pastor of a small church, you start going, well, that's daunting. That's what these resources help with. You post on Facebook and you have an Instagram account. There's
connect
ways.
them.
That's right.
Done.
Connect them. So you're posting in both places with one post.
Yeah.
Sending a mass email versus trying to email every single person and grouping them
or
in
a reply all.
Exactly. use a mail an email company like MailChimp that will give you there's a free tier.
Man, it'll cost you a dime to
exactly.
use it.
And just to send out mass emails to people. But anyways, I know that sounds like, well, we still use email. Email is still an effective way of communicating.
As a church plant, like we would partner with our city and
Sure.
show up at things and do giveaways. And MailChimp and some others have this app feature for iPads that pops up a form full screen, and it's just a name and an email field, and they can submit it.
It's good.
And we would use that for giveaways at city events and set up 2 iPads and we're giving away X, Y, and Z and come enter. And that's just a great way. We know you were at this event. And it was a family event, so chances are you have kids. So you filled this out, and we can respond to those emails and reply to you, or you just blast email them about family-friendly stuff at our church. Because we know it was families, and we know it's relevant content, so we'll do that. And that's an easy way to collect emails.
That's right.
Man,
Google Forms, Google Forms, all very easy to put into different aspects and different parts. So go create some kind of email communication.
It's not complicated.
It's not hard.
These companies are making it easier and easier for just anybody.
That's right.
Really,
and as a lead pastor, when you got 1,000 things to do, any help,
and you can do this in minutes.
But that kind of pushes us. Besides, there's one more front door. I want us to talk about front door.
Oh yeah. Frontdoor.church.
Yes.
Love frontdoor.church.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with frontdoor.church it works on its own, but also works in conjunction with this whole idea of you have a website, right? And people are landing on your website.
So good.
People in your community are landing on your website who have needs.
Yeah.
Chances are you know what they are.
Right.
Maybe it's you have a ton of people in your community dealing with something like depression or loneliness, or maybe you have a lot of young families in your church and you want to offer something to these families that's helpful to them so that they see your church as not just someone who's asking you to come and give money, but someone who's saying, we're here for you.
That's right.
We love you. We want to support you and your family. Frontdoor.church has a library of done-for-you PDF resources, things like anxiety and loneliness and family stuff, parenting, top 20 verses on fill in the blank, that kind of stuff.
So good.
And so you select a resource and you click next, and it gives you the option to select one of 3 landing page designs. All you do is click it. And if you want to change the content, you can, or we've created the page is done. You don't have to do anything.
Beautiful.
You use the content on it. You can change the colors real quick to match your colors of your church, your logo.
Awesome.
And then you publish. And we also have the ability to send emails automatically, which is really, I guess, the secret sauce of Front Door. So when someone fills out the form, you have 3 emails that we've created for you.
Nice.
They're done.
Right.
Or you can add 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 emails, and you set how many days after. So if I fill out the form on day 1, this email goes out on
3
day
days later,
3
2
or
days
day
later.
7 or
Yeah,
day
right.
21 or
Right.
whatever, so that you're always in front of your people. So you offer the resource in email 1, here's your download.
Wow.
Maybe email 2 goes out a few days later. Hey, how did it go with that resource?
Nice.
Here's a video you can watch so it takes us further. Hey, email 4, an invitation to, since this resource was on family issues, here's an invitation to our family life group or this
Wow.
family event at our church. And so this is
Wow.
happening
Bro,
automatically.
that sounds like
It's
a
24/7
That sounds like a
outreach.
staff member that I'm not paying for. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like a whole
Yeah.
night full-time job that Front Door is doing for me.
Right. So yeah, if you want to view this as an automated digital outreach, like
Yeah.
this is your evangelism tool,
Yeah, it is.
like done for you on automation, and you
So
don't have to
good.
think. This is one of the things that you don't have to think about. You just kind of set it up
Hey,
and
that's
let
my
it
kind of
run,
resource.
and push people to it via ads or social posts, or have a link on it to your website directly
Man,
to this resource.
So good.
You're capturing email addresses, giving resources, being seen as someone with answers and someone who's helpful to people in your community. But then you've got emails.
Yeah.
So then you can email those
Data.
families about things going on in your church, inviting them to take next steps or whatever
good.
that is. Frontdoor.church, absolutely love it.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. As we talk about gathering people's data, gathering people's emails,
Yeah,
and
what do you do
gathering,
with it?
yeah, what do we do? What are the best practices? What are some of the great resources that exist
Rolodex
with our
type
data?
stuff?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
keep
We
it in
have
a
to write
Rolodex?
it. You know,
Yeah.
Wow. If you're still keeping everything on a Rolodex. Goodness me. I'm proud of you that you found a podcast. I'm proud of you that you found
You
a podcast.
made it.
You made it. Okay, you're growing. But it's super sensitive. People got to know that we're going to
gotta
be
be
good
protected,
stewards.
right?
Yes, we're going to be good stewards of this. So if you just got this sitting around on a desk or,
Oh, man.
you're right. We still do handwritten stuff at our church
Sure.
for connect cards and stuff, and we're very careful
process.
how we're
You have
processing
to
that
deal with
because
that, yeah.
in the world of
Data breaches.
there it is,
and-
data
yeah,
breaches and people stealing my identity and that kind of stuff. You got to be good stewards of this, and the church is no different. The expectation is
Yeah,
on
is
us
that you're
as
going to
well.
handle it even better, right?
That's our expectation. Hey, my bank's handling my stuff well. It's secured.
Yep.
The church better because this is sensitive. And if we, as a church, don't carry that, people won't give us their data.
Oh, no.
They
No,
won't
no.
share that information with us. If they see it laying around at the altar or on the chair, whatever, after
Yep.
church, it'll send a message that it's not
Oh,
important
yeah,
to us.
I
So
don't trust you. Yeah.
So we're going to put this resource list together for church management, but
Okay.
we wanted to lead that conversation with saying it's got to be treated with security, with value.
Yeah.
This is how we steward who God brings to our church.
Sure.
This
This is a stewardship issue, not just
exactly.
like fun tech to use.
In the
right?
same way that we steward our finances well, we're stewarding our people.
Yeah.
And how do we know and how do we measure? How do we grow? How do we know that this person came back from last week's this is a way church database management systems are important. They help us steward our people well. So we've got a little bit of list.
Yeah, as a church planner and been a part of churches, and you've probably done this too, is you've trial and errored a lot of church management systems.
Yes.
Gone through the small ones and
That's
the
right.
big ones, the ones that take months to onboard,
That's right.
super expensive,
Yep.
or the ones that are free. So we've got a couple that we really like, I think, that we've kind of landed on.
I agree.
Church database.
Yep.
We've been through several big ones, and we're not going to name them because we don't want you to view them as bad. Maybe they're great for you.
Correct.
What I like for our church,
Tried and tested.
Planning Center.
It's a beautiful program.
Man, if you're not on Planning Center or you've
Beautiful
never heard of it,
ecosystem.
dude, everything from service schedules, so
right.
like your order of
service.
service,
Yep.
to volunteer management.
That's right.
Saying,
Scheduling
hey,
people.
you're on this team, and they
Mhm.
get to reply back and say, yes, I can, or no, I can't.
That's right.
And then hey, I don't have someone on ProPresenter this week. I don't have a keyboard player this week. I need
right.
to find something. Great for that. Great for people management.
That's right.
Great for registrations, both paid and free.
That's right.
Calendar of events. They have a new feature that allows you to embed your calendar
Hey.
of events on your website.
From there.
That's beautiful.
That's really
So
neat.
you just go to Planning Center, add your event, and it automatically is on your website.
We're total fanboys of this. I'm being honest with you.
we're not trying to make it. We're not making any money off this. We
Zero.
just love Planning
It
Center.
just works.
It's fantastic.
And as a church where you're trying to you just need to like
We need to take resistance out of the road.
exactly.
Right? We need
This-
the path
it
of least
just-
resistance.
It just works. And so we use this extensively
Yeah.
in our church, and they work very well. The pricing side of it
Oh,
is
I
super
love the
helpful.
pricing. Yeah, because it's
super
like
helpful.
pay for what you need.
That's right.
So if you're a smaller church, you may be on their $14 tier.
That's right.
Yes, I said $14. They even have a free tier for just people management. But once you want to start adding giving or registrations, you only pay for what you need.
What you need.
They even do like child check-ins. So for
That's
talking about security
Secure
again,
check-in, that's right.
You've got first-time guests bringing their kids, and they walk up now to an iPad that they can check their kid in, and it prints out a label.
Yeah.
Talk about feeling like you care about safety. Things like allergies
Exactly.
for kids are listed on there.
Oh, listen, it speaks to this. You say, well, again, why? That sounds like the big church, da 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 da.
Uh-huh.
There is a reason. We said this in that very first episode. There's a reason why sometimes they do those things.
Yeah.
We're not just going to do it because a big church is doing it.
No.
But there was a reason behind it. And you mentioned safety, security.
Yeah.
And when a family that's new, who is already skeptical of
walking into a church already is a big deal.
and they see that, oh, wow, they've got a process and a system. They're going to secure. My kid is not just randomly running around.
Right.
Like anybody can check them out.
Yeah.
Like there's a system, and you're wanting that as a pastor. Like I want to be. Planning Center allows for this to be a reality for smaller churches.
Yeah.
Now it looks like we're bigger than we are, whatever. But the reality, you're actually providing safety, security through some of their programs.
Perception is reality, right? So people perceive you as what you
Planning Center is huge.
Yeah, Planning Center love.
But we do it because we're trying to steward the order of service. We don't want it to just, walk into Sunday and go, what are we doing today? Your worship leader going,
you're
what's
valuing
the
your
songs?
volunteers.
Exactly. You're bringing a lot of value. They get to choose what weeks they can serve and what they can't.
Sure.
So that way we're not burning everybody out.
Yeah.
There's a rotation that's healthy. So it's got that aspect to it. Again, Planning Center online is a phenomenal resource. And so it touches so many different areas.
Everything from
So many
finance
different
to
areas.
kids check-in to
That's right.
event registration, small groups.
That's right. And hey, if you're part of the Planning Center family, like you work for Planning Center, we love you. We appreciate all that you've done. All right.
Thanks for all you do.
Thanks for all you do. But it is such a resource that stretches into almost every category of our church.
Yeah.
It helps us manage those things.
Now we talked about this is all about stewardship.
Right.
We're stewarding our money, and the people that God's given us a free way to do that is churchmetrics.com.
That's right.
This is a
Absolutely
resource
free.
that's given free for the people who create YouVersion.
That's right.
So open.lifechurch.com, churchmetrics.com.
Yes.
That you're going to plug in stuff like attendance,
Yep.
but also like baptisms and baby dedications, all that kind of
Salvations,
stuff. So you got this awesome dashboard
That's
that
right.
you can jump into and see the health of your
Visually.
church, like the spiritual
so
health of your church, like right away.
Right.
You plug it in on your phone. I think they have an app for that. You just plug it in on the fly on Sunday.
What
And,
pastor
man,
doesn't want to see at a screenshot, like where their church is at?
right.
And this resource allows
I think
to
you can
do that.
you can even plug in like giving totals. So
Correct.
it's like, hey, this offering
Track
this
it.
weekend, just the total. We're not talking individual gifts, but
Correct.
like, man, you can look at trends and say, man, look, last year in June we really dipped.
Yes. Let's get ready. Let's teach on this. Let's prepare financially in our
You'll know
budget
what to do.
That's right. And I almost said it again. I said it on Sunday. Knowing is half the battle. I said it again. It just is the presenting itself in all my forums to say.
There you
that.
go. Yeah.
Knowing,
Say it.
it just is
As
a
the
beautiful
Lord.
picture to see, the trend of the health of my church and
Mhm.
knowing that we're not. And if you're not tracking it, you're not measuring it.
You don't know.
You don't have
You
a
don't know
clue.
what you don't know.
And that's not a beautiful place to be when you're trying to lead a church. It's
No,
you're
like
lost.
walking blindly. Right?
Yeah,
Walking
exactly.
in the
So
dark.
it's a great resource. We use it to help, measure metrics in the area of our attendance and certain things like that. And it's free.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely free.
It's free.
Don't cost you a dime. Go
Exactly.
sign up for it. You'll love it. Something that a church cannot live without
That's right.
is giving.
That's right.
And that's a scriptural thing. We give.
That's
we're
right.
We're tithers. We're givers. We're trying to teach our people to give. You got to give them a very, what's the word I'm looking for? A way to give.
Sure.
It's got to be convenient. Convenience is what I'm
Convenient.
looking for. A convenient way to give.
Sure.
So in our church, we did a box at the back of the room.
Okay. Done it.
And that's biblical.
Right.
When we made the switch to the box at the back of the room and stopped doing the whole plate thing and
Okay.
all that stuff, actually our giving increased. And I'm not telling
Interesting.
you need to do that, but our giving actually
Interesting.
increased. But then we found that about 90% of our giving is done online.
Sure.
Online giving is huge.
Gotta have it.
If you don't have online giving in your church,
Gotta have it.
maybe it's freaked you out. Maybe it's kind of overwhelmed you. You thought, well, that's a lot to set up and a lot to configure. One more place to search for funds and and
Right.
reconcile bank statements or whatever, giving statements. We talked about Planning Center earlier. We'll talk about it again.
That's right.
Planning Center
It
has a
stretches
great,
into this
it's
category.
just another tool that you can use in the planning center ecosystem.
Yep.
It's fantastic. It's simple to set up.
Yep.
It connects directly to your people database. It generates end of year reports, emails them directly, or you have the option to print them out. Fantastic tool. What do you guys use at your church?
So we're in the Tidely camp. We like Tidely. We like what they do. They provide all the stuff. But what we really want to share in this part of it is you need an online giving platform.
Yeah.
If you're yet to get into that camp for whatever reason, we were there at first.
Sure.
We had an older congregation.
Yeah.
And the fear was they won't do it. The fear is they won't.
Yeah.
And we took this out of our language as a church when we first took on that our people don't or our people won't. Our people don't give online and our people won't give online.
Okay.
And we use this phrase instead. It's not unique to me. We haven't led our people to it yet.
Sure.
So we had never done it in the history of this church in an online. So it wasn't that they weren't going to do it or they don't like doing it. It's just they had never been given the opportunity. They'd never been led to that moment. So I would encourage though, you're missing out. We have people in different parts of our state and different parts of our country who never walk through our doors.
Same.
Because they can, right? Because they can. We got the place for them to give online on our website, through the app, all the different things that you can set up there. So what we really want to say is if you're not in there, you're definitely like the website used to be. Like if you don't have a website, you're behind. Like if you're not providing online giving, like you're gonna begin to lose out on the opportunity for people to give. More and more people are carrying less cash in a pot. I can't remember the last time I've written a check.
I don't even own a checkbook.
Yeah, like personally. So if you're trying to reach, I'm 40. If you're trying to reach this generation and below, like they don't even know what a checkbook is.
No, I was at Target the other day, and it really took me back. This elderly couple was in front of me, and they're getting up there to check out, and he whips out a checkbook.
Well,
and he's writing a check.
It took 45 minutes to check out.
And I was like, you've got to be kidding, first of all. But then I was like, that's pretty cute.
I remember that. I remember going to the grocery store with my mom and, she's doing the whole deal. What was the total?
Right.
I get it. It's just not.
Run it through that.
Exactly. It's just not where people are. Yes, people still give checks and you got to create that opportunity.
Sure.
That's the giving boxes and people can still mail stuff in.
Yeah.
But
we're not saying
COVID taught us if we weren't prepared for that, we were struggling,
tools, dude.
So this is why we're saying as a resource podcast like episode, like if you got to be in the online Google, they're getting closer and closer to each other as far as what they can offer.
What they all do.
Exactly. What they offer. So I'm not saying pick this over that.
They all have the card options, save it, recurring.
That's right. Reoccurring. One of the things that we liked about Tidely that we didn't see in others, so I'll just say this, we've actually enjoyed them, is the ability for the people to pay. They could toggle on and pay the fee. They pay the fee. And that's just helped us, not incur all those fees. But there is. Most of them are pretty much the same. And so we're just saying you need to be online. You need to provide a digital way for people to give. You could be missing out on finances coming into your church. And again, securing that, adding that to your database, tracking all of that. We've got to be good stewards. We don't want to be the organization on the planet that does things halfway.
No, man, we're the church
poorly.
Represent the kingdom.
Yeah. Or hey, I never got my tax statement. Oh, we don't do our taxes. We kind of skirt. Like we're not here to be in the dark. We're supposed to be the most integrous organism on the planet is the church. So, anyways, those help us as lead pastors when we got other 1,000 things we got to think about.
Yeah, you're busy. We get it.
Other things to think about. These things do these for us. So definitely a giving platform.
Yeah, it's like the more you can take off your plate, the more you can delegate. The more you can do what only you can do.
Yes.
Like with volunteers, but then with digital tools too.
Yes.
So we're all about equipping the church to be the church, and this just helps you be the pastor more.
Bro, you use the word convenient. It's so convenient for people, and that just means that more people are going to do it. More people are going to engage in it that would have never done it before.
And these tools are so much easier to use than they used to be.
Always.
They're making them easier and easier and easier to adopt and to use and to communicate with each other and all of this stuff. And empowering your volunteers to handle some of these tools that we've talked about is a lot easier too because they're just so easy to use.
Yeah. Bottom line is resources
use them.
Help us share the gospel in a better way.
Yeah.
Don't let the I've always done it this way be the excuse on why we can't get that whatever process. First time guests, giving, website, to a better place
Sure.
because what we're doing matters. Preaching, come on.
I've always preached this
matters.
way. So
it matters. We can get better.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of resources. This is, I've shared this before. This is like the greatest era of resources in ministry that I've ever been in.
Yeah.
And been in ministry for over 25 years. Like there's so many great people out there wanting to make it easier.
Yeah. If you feel like you're
for the
struggling with
church.
some of this stuff, we talked about it in a previous episode. Join Pastor Circle. If it's a Facebook group that we power, I go to Facebook and search for Pastor Circle, request to join. That's a great community of pastors that are just there to help each other.
Right.
Pastor.
Sure.
So that's helpful.
Even on this video, comment on your favorite resource that has helped you. Do something better, faster.
What have you used?
Yeah, streamlined process. Your favorite church management software. Again, we're really speaking to maybe people who don't engage in these things. Engage them, but share with what you're doing.
We would love to hear it.
Absolutely.
And it would benefit the body.
That's
for
right.
you to share.
That's right. And we're going to provide a show list with a bunch of links and
all
other
the
ones
links
that maybe
will
we
be in
didn't
the
mention.
description. Yeah.
So you don't have to memorize
Yeah,
it
don't
all.
go back and rewind it and try to write it down. It'll be in the description below. That's pretty much it for this episode.
That's right.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
I love digital resources.
Exactly. Anything to help.
Yeah. Everything lives in the cloud these days.
That's right. The heavenly cloud.
The heavenly cloud is all coming down from the cloud. There's a message in there for something.
That's right. That's right.
That's it for today.
Awesome.
David Carlson,
Mike
Hernandez. Yes, we're excited to have you at Hello Church, episode 4, season 4. We'll see you next time.